Uh, Good afternoon, friends. Today we are going to take our new topic, which is related to voltage stability study. So, in this lecture, we are going to cover graphical methods for voltage stability study. Now, the points which we have to cover in this lecture are as follow. First, we are going to talk about the introduction of graphical methods. Second, we are going to talk about PV curve, what is PV curve method and how we can determine the system voltage stability through this graphical method or PV curve. And the third one is QV curve method. The fourth topic is benefits of QV curve and why it is more important and why the engineers give more focus on the QV curve as compared to the PV curve, and we'll discuss one numerical which is based on the series segments. Now, when we are talking about the introductions of for voltage stability, so there are various methods by which you can determine the system voltage stability, or you can do the voltage stability analysis. The first one is graphical method, which cover PV curve method and QV curve method. In this method, we will plot the curve for a particular typical system, 2-bus system, 3-bus, and then we will develop curve, and based on that curve we'll find out where the voltage stability limit has reached or where the voltage may collapse. So these are the graphical method. Then the third method is the method which is based on singularity of power flow Jacobian matrix at the point of voltage collapse. So in this method, first we will develop the singularity of power flow Jacobian matrix. So we will develop Jacobian matrix where the voltage collapse may taken place. Okay, and then last one is continuation power flow. So there's one more method, modal analysis, by which you can do the voltage stability analysis. Now in this chapter we are going to talk about the voltage stability analysis using graphical method only. So now let us discuss this. So before starting this lecture, just you try to understand that here we are taking a very simple system, a 2-bus system. So this side we having a Vs voltage, or you can say this is the infinite bus. As we know that infinite bus, in case of rotor angle stability, if we are trying to find out the rotor angle stability, infinite bus is denoted apart from generator, whatever is connected to the grid side is called infinite bus. But in case of, and one more point, that voltage stability is the phenomena of generator side, but when we are talking about voltage stability, it is the phenomena of source side. So that's why over here it is written infinite bus, and the load is connected over here through this reactance X. Now let us assume that the transmission line voltages at sending end voltage is Vs or E along with a delta angle, and the receiving end voltage is Vr or simple V. Similarly, the load capacity we have denoted PR plus JQR, and the line is lossless, so we are not considering any R over here, and the having series reactance of X. Now many times it is required that to include the line resistance in the system, but for sake of simplicity we are not considering the line resistance over here, because for the 2-bus system and it is generally negligible, so we are not considering, but for a particular application you can consider R over here. Now in this lecture we will discuss completely what is PV curve method and QV curve method and how we can analyze actually. Now let us understand what is voltage stability of a simple 2-bus system. So here as I told in earlier figure, that we having 2-bus system, one is sending end side and another is receiving end side. This is sending end voltage, that is E, magnitude E along with the angle delta, and here we having receiving end voltage having 0. This side we having load, and this is generator. Now the basic concept of the voltage stability can be explained with a simple 2-bus system. The load is constant power type. So over here we are assuming that load is constant power type. There are various types of load classification. Now if I am trying to find out what is the maximum what is the real power transfer from 1 to 2 bus. So it can be written P equal to E V X sin delta. This E is sending end voltage, receiving end voltage is V, X is the total impedance which is coming between 1 and 2 bus, and sin delta is this angle which is associated with this sending end voltage. Now similarly you can write down the reactive power transfer from bus 1 to 2 is given by Q equal to minus V square by X plus X Ex upon X cos delta, where E equal to E delta is the voltage at bus 1, V is the V angle 0 is the voltage at bus 2, and X is the impedance of the line, and delta is power angle. Now what we will do, in order to do the simplicity in the derivation, we will try to normalize the values. Now normalization is required over here. So if you normalize the value, let us assume that V is equal to V upon E, or you can say VR upon Vs. Okay, P, this is small p, which can be written P capital P dot X upon E square, or P equal to Px upon Vs square, and Q can be written Qx upon E square. So this, if we are assuming this normalized value, what we can write down, P can be written V sin delta, and Q can be written minus V square plus V cos delta. Now if you are squaring the root equations and above equations, and again the rearranging, what you will get, V square bracket sin square delta plus cos square delta equal to P square plus Q plus V square whole square, and further you will get one equation, that is characteristics equation, V raised to power 4 plus V square bracket 2Q minus 1 plus P square plus Q square equal to 0. Now if you are going to find out the solution of this equation, the solution can be written V equal to under root 1 by 2 minus Q plus minus under root 1 by 4 P square Q square. Now the positive real solution of this V, it can be written or can be given by this equation. So these are the positive real solution of this equation. Okay, now further, as a plot of V on Q, V and P, Q and V plane, so you draw the curve between V, P and Q. So the corresponding to each point of PQ, there will be two solutions for V. So I hope you are getting my point. If the point is the question so here this is the curve between V, Q and P. So a plot on of V on the PQV plane is shown previously in the video. Now corresponding to each point of P and Q, there will be two solution for the voltage. One is high voltage or stable solution, and the second one is low voltage and unstable solution. So if I am talking about in clear manner, it will be you will get two solutions like this. One is high voltage and stable operation, and the second one is low voltage and unstable. Why it is called unstable? The reason is because over here the current is high, because the power is same at the both points, but because the current is high in this case, and in this case current is low. So when we are comparing two systems, one is having high current and low voltage, and high voltage and low current, so the system is much better or stable which having high voltage and low current. So that's why this point is much better or stable as compared to this point. So we can say that there are two solutions for the voltage. One is high voltage or stable solution, which is actual voltage at the bus, and another is the low voltage and unstable solution. The equator along which the two solution of V are equal, they are representing the maximum point actually. So the starting from any operating point on upper part of the surface, an increase in the P or Q both bring the system closer to the maximum power point. So you can see in the video that in each case the maximum power point will come, and similarly an increase in P or Q beyond the maximum power point which will make the system unstable. So this is all about the PV curve. Now let us discuss the same phenomena in a great manner. So let us start the PV curve method. This is one of the widely used method for voltage stability analysis. This gives the available amount of the active power margin before point of voltage in stability. So the last derivation we have gone through that for a radial system, the voltage of a critical bus is monitored against the change in real power consumption. For a large mesh network, P can be total active load in the load area and the V can be the voltage of the critical or representative bus. The real power transfer through a transmission interface or interconnection also be studied by this method. So this is the benefit of PV curve method. Now over here for a simple two bus system, as we have discussed, the solution of V square can be written or can be again written by this V upon V equal to 1 by 2 under root 1 by 2 minus Q plus minus under root 1 plus 4 P square minus Q. Further it can be written if we are trying to find out the PV curve method, it can be written 1 minus 4Q minus 4P square greater than 0. Now assuming that the constant power factor load such that Q by P equal to K constant. Now inequalities can be expressed as P greater less than or equal to 1 by 2 plus bracket 1 plus K square 1 by 2 minus K. For the values of P satisfying the solution, we will get for the solution or the solution of the V1 of these equation, if we are satisfying this P, we will get V1 equal to 1 by 2 Pk plus 1 by 4 Pk minus P square 1 by 2 power 1 by 2 whole square 1 by 2. Similarly, the V2 solution will get 1 by 2 minus Pk minus 1 by 4 minus Pk minus P square 1 by 2 1 by 2. Now further, if we find the solution for the real values of V1 and the V2, the term under the square root, it can be written that 1 by 2 Pk minus 1 by 4 Pk minus P square 1 by 2 is greater than 0. Or finally we can write down P square into K square plus 1 greater than 0, which is always true. So representing the load as constant power factor type, with the suitable chosen power factor, the active power margin can be computed from this equation. And for different values of the load power factor, it means I am talking about for different corresponding value of K, normalized value of the load active power as shown in this figure. Now this is the figure. So if you are choosing different power factor and you are using the normalized value, you will get such types of power. So this is called PV curve. Now in practical, it is possible to find the Thevenin's equivalent of any system with respect to the bus under consideration. It is to be noted that the generation are rescheduled at each step of change of the load. Some generator may hit the reactive power limit. The network topology may keep changing with respect to critical bus with change in the loading, thereby reducing the accuracy of the method. This method works well in case of an infinite bus and isolated load scenario only. So this is the drawback of the PV curve. Now let us discuss the QV curve method. So if we are trying to develop VQ curve or QV curve method and the reactive power reserve, we will get such types of curve which is traced between V and Q. Now the QV curve method is one of the most popular way to investigate voltage instability problem in power system during the post transient periods. Unlike the PV curve method, it does not require the system to be represented as two bus equivalent. So we can say that when we are talking about PV curve, it is necessary to convert the system as a two bus system, but in case of VQ curve method, there is no need to develop the system in two bus system. Voltage at the at a test bus or critical bus is plotted against the reactive power at that bus. A fictitious synchronous generator with a zero active power and no reactive power limit is connected to the test bus, and the power flow program is run for the range of specific voltage with the test bus treated as a generator bus, and then reactive power at that bus is noted from the power flow solution and it is plotted against the specific voltage. The operating point corresponding to the zero reactive power represent the condition when the fictitious reactive power source is removed from the test bus. So in this way you can develop the PV curve. Now let us discuss what are the benefits of QV curve and PV curve. So when we are talking about PV curve, as we have already discussed that Thevenin's equivalent can be developed, but the major drawback already we have discussed. But the benefits of QV curve, VQ curve is, first one is this VQ curve. The slope of VQ curve gives the stiffness of the bus, stiffness of the factor del V upon del Q. So this curve will give you the how much stiffness of the curve having. Since bus voltage is directly related to the reactive power, VQ curve gives the better insight into the voltage stability phenomena, because as we know that voltage stability is what? It is the voltage reactive power demand or the lagging or leading reactive power. Based on that we can conclude whether the load bus is facing voltage instability. So ultimately this QV curve is traced between V and Q and V, so it will give more insights of voltage stability phenomena. Third one is, it is necessary the reactive power generation or generators of reactive power can be plotted on the same curve. The point where the slope of VQ curve become less steep and the bottom of the curve is approach indicate that the reactive power limit is generator has reached. So if I am talking about, so this is the limit actually, this is the maximum limit, here the reactive power limit has reached. Now the solution of voltage instability problem lies in the use of shunt compensation equipment. So the characteristics of shunt compensation devices also can be plotted on the same curve. So as we know that if you want to solve the reactive power problem, voltage instability problem, so the solution lies on the reactive power management. Now the same curve for the shunt compensation device can be plotted. Characteristics of shunt compensation device can be kept over here like in this way. So you can see that shunt compensation devices. So this is the characteristics of shunt capacitor bank and it has been traced over here. Okay, now you can see that how much gap is required in order to make the system from here to here. So this is the another benefit of QV curve. The next benefit is the intersection of VQ curve of the bus and the compensating equipments give the operating point. Now where your curve is intersecting, it means what, that the shunt compensating device along with VQ curve. So these are the operating points actually, where this is the characteristics of shunt capacitor bank, and this is our VQ curve. So this is our operating point for this compensating device, which will tell you that over here the system will be much stable. So this is one more benefit of VQ curve. Now the another benefit of is reactive power margin also be determined. The reactive power margin is vertical distance in term of QR between the operating point and the bottom of the curve. When shunt compensation equipment is used, the reactive power margin is the distance between two operating points, either with and without shunt compensation, or two different shunt compensation equipment. So the point is, here you can compare that if you want to use two compensating device, so you will get that VR margin which will give more, which is more suitable compensating device. So these are the two characteristics of different capacitor banks, and here you will get margin. So this is the one more benefit of reactive power, this VQ curve. Then the last one is the effect of voltage sensitivity. Load and tape changing can be also incorporated over here. So these are the benefits of QV curve. Now based on this, I want to float one numerical. In the next class we'll try to develop, we'll try to find out the solution, or we'll discuss the solution of this numerical. Now here the question is, figure shows a bus bar D connected to a three bus bars A, B and C. Sorry, I forgot to write B over here. This is the B point. Now bus bar A and B are B operates at 220 kV, while C and D operate at 132 kV. So these two buses are operating at 220 kV, and C and D is operating at 132 kV. The transformer reactance are on 200 MVA base. The system resistance can be neglected. Assume 200 MVA and 220 kV at bus A as base, and draw the reactance diagram. So it is very simple. You first draw the reactive diagram, then find the VAR injection at bus D. So you have to find out how much VAR we have to inject to bring back the voltage to its original value. So this is the question which you are supposed to solve, how much reactive power we have to inject over here, so that we can bring it 132 kV. So what we are supposed to find out, if the voltage at bus D fall by 4 kV, find the VAR injection at bus D to bring back the bus voltage to its original value. So this is the figure, and you find out the solution of this question, and the next class will solve, and I'll come along with the two or three four numerical which is based on voltage stability. Apart from this, you are supposed to so reference for this video lectures I taken from B.R. Gupta as well as one NPTEL lecture. So thank you very much. Thank you.